Gotta say to everyone, welcome to this week's Death in Music. This is episode 12. This is probably one of my favorite episodes so far. It's probably the episode I've done the most research in. So, did you go see the movie, Ellie?
I did, man. I fucking loved it, bro.
Yeah, it was pretty good. It was good. It wasn't like perfect, but it was good. It had its shine. They took a lot of liberties too.
FYI to anybody, this episode might have some spoilers for you.
Yeah, if you're gonna see the movie, because there's no way for us not to spoil the movie, especially because we got a lot of inaccuracies to talk about and shit, and some of them are like vital plot points of the movie, and so we're basically ruining plot of a made-up story, the made-up story part of the movie for you. So something to consider before we start talking about it.
Yeah, we're not gonna like heavily throw in a lot of stuff because we're mostly that movie was it's a Queen movie. It's predominantly Freddie, but it also has a lot to do with Queen.
Right.
But this episode is the only dead member from Queen is Freddie Mercury, so this is dedicated to his honor.
That's true. Yeah. So we're gonna focus on him. It's hard not to focus on him.
I just want to give a quick shout out to our beautiful, loyal people that are always around. Mazzy and Liz. It's always a pleasure to see that you guys are on.
Freddie Mercury, born Farrokh Bulsara. That's an interesting name. He knew he wasn't going to be a pop star with that name.
That's a hard name to pronounce.
Yeah, dude, Farrokh Bulsara. And so he was born September 5th, 1946, died November 24th, 1991. Wow,
yeah, he
pretty
was
early to go. Pretty early to die.
He would have been, 65, 75? About like almost 73 if he would have still been living.
Yeah, that sounds about right. 30 more years, basically, since 91. God damn, it makes me feel old. Or no, 20 more years, right? Well, 27 more years. Well, it doesn't matter. The point is he would have been fucking older. But he died at 46, according to Liz. Good times. Good times. Not really.
Wikipedia doesn't lie. It says 45.
Oh, there you go, Liz. Wikipedia never makes mistakes. So one of the first things they mentioned in the article about him is that he had a 4-octave range, which is pretty fucking high.
They play on that in the beginning of the movie when he meets the band, his 4-octave range.
Yeah, he says it's caused by his what is it called? His
big ass mouth.
Yeah, his extra teeth. He has extra incisors in his mouth, and in fact, through his life, many people asked him why he didn't correct the shit in his teeth, like why he didn't get some of them removed. And he said he was afraid it would affect his vocal range, so he never did it. Like he had like extra buck teeth, basically.
Thank God he didn't, right?
And why mess with something that perfect?
Right, exactly. Especially when you have that range, that fucking powerful ass range. Why would you even want to fuck with that?
Yeah, dude. I can't even believe people had the nerve to ask him about it. When you think about it, it's like the answer's kind of obvious.
Just assholes.
Yeah, pretty much. They had an adversarial relationship with a lot of the music press. Songs hits that were written by Freddie Mercury are Bohemian Rhapsody, Killer Queen, Somebody to Love, Don't Stop Me Now, Crazy Little Thing Called Love, and We Are the Champions. So pretty much every one of their like biggest hits was written by Mercury. But it's kind of muddy because they like collabed a lot. I'm sorry, you're gonna say?
No, I was pretty disappointed that "Crazy Little Thing Called Love" is my favorite Queen song, but predominantly one of the main ones, and that was the only one that I didn't see mentioned or hear on the fucking movie.
No, it was in there, dude. It was in there because I remember when they played it, but it was a small piece of it. It was like for a second. It was like during like a montage or something, but it was in there.
Okay.
But for
that's like one of the short ones.
Yeah, me too. That's a great one. I kept wondering, I'm like, where the fuck is Don't Stop Me Now? And then I guess I should have figured because like that actually was chronologically composed around the same time they played it in the movie. So I guess I should have figured.
True. Yeah.
Yeah. But so like in the movie, like they touch upon this, but basically like he was really fucking like adamant about holding onto song rights. And some songs were not 100% written by him, but he was able to kind of leverage the rights because he was the singer and because he had composed large pieces of them. Like Bohemian Rhapsody, that piano part, it's all him. You know, it's something he'd been playing with for like his whole life. He had all these little pieces
like
of
the
songs.
little riff.
Yeah, that one riff. Yeah. So he has this one little riff, and it becomes this huge thing. And even though everyone had some hand in it since he started it, he gets writing credit for it. So that was one of those things that everyone bucked heads over. And so it's true that, like, for instance, like in the movie, the bassist writes Another One Bites the Dust, and he did that in real life basically so he could maintain the rights for it. Like, so people would start to write stuff just so they could get paid for it, because you would get paid according to how, like, what you technically wrote on paper.
Right, and then they touch in later on that when they reunited, it was like everything is going to be split evenly.
Yeah, right.
No fighting between who wrote this, who gets the rights for this. It's going to be the whole band or nothing. Queen writes everything, not Freddie, not what was the other guy's name? Brian.
There's Brian, Roger, yeah, and then the bassist, whoever he is.
I forgot his name. Dick. Didn't he? I don't know what the fuck it was. Yeah, but I gotta say, with all the you know, it's mostly like the diehard fans. I mean, because I consider myself a really big fan of Queen ever since I was in middle school.
Right.
And I see where they went off on a lot of shit, but you can't fucking you can't bash the movie, man. It was a great fucking movie.
Oh yeah, dude. It was good. It was good. It wasn't. I kept telling Liz it was a 4 out of 5 star movie for me. Like there were things they could have done to make it better. Like the whole end is like inaccurate because they try to shove everything into the end. They put events out of order. Like at Live Aid, he doesn't supposedly know he has AIDS yet, but in the movie he knows, and he's performing in spite of that. Even though he had his solo career, the band never officially broke up, ever, not once. So he'd do a solo thing, and then he'd go back to touring with Queen, and then like it might have been like kind of like Rocky, but they never officially ever had like a real breakup. So like some of that stuff is like, you know, dramatized.
No, like I was telling my mom, and I've known this since I got into the band. I started watching like their Live Aid performance back in the day when YouTube was barely coming out.
That performance is amazing, dude.
It's the most electrifying performance of Live Aid.
Yeah, and maybe even of all time, dude. Like that competes with like Hendrix at Woodstock. It's competitive.
At Woodstock, yeah. And it was the fact that it was so electrifying. They were coming back from a hiatus, and just that energy that was felt. I think that's like one of Queen's like greatest fucking live performances as well, if I'm not mistaken. It's always regarded as one of the greatest Queen performances of all time. Yeah, so definitely. I think for the movie, they had to kind of put his pain for finding out he has AIDS into him singing, and that's why his voice was a little shoddy, I guess. Yeah.
Well, there was some truth to that, I guess. He did have a throat problem, and his doctor told him not to perform.
Now, do you know if they, because they actually used his voice for the movie, correct?
I believe so. I think it's like because like
remastered tracks.
Yeah, and some live tracks, so it didn't sound like it was straight off of an album. I'm 90% sure they just used a lot of his voice.
Yeah, dude, because it was fucking amazing. Yeah. It was amazing because it was so spot on.
All right, so let's get to Freddie Mercury. We'll talk about early life. Something I really wanted to mention really quick is, first, that's fucking Freddie Mercury, man. That's the man. But secondly, I wanted to say that he was born in Zanzibar, and I had no fucking idea. I've heard the name Zanzibar thrown around a million times. Did you have any idea Zanzibar looks like this? Like, dude, Zanzibar is fucking beautiful, dude. Like, Jesus Christ!
But they were pretty much like they kind of his family got ran out of there, right?
Yeah, they were refugees from. Let me see, but I don't think it was Zanzibar. He grew up in India after Zanzibar.
Parsi.
Yeah, they were Parsi.
They're Parsi, and but they're descendant of Zanzibar, or he just grew up in India before moving to Middlesex.
Yeah, exactly. So he was born in Zanzibar, grew up in India, then they got ran out, and he grew up in Middle Essex. Yeah, exactly.
And this is in his teens too, so it's not like he was a little kid when he got to London. He's already like about, I would say, what, 15.
Yeah, he's like either a teenager or preteen when he basically makes his way over to the UK.
Mm-hmm.
So and then let's actually go to early life. So so there's a lot of pictures of him with like a lot of Indian boys because he was basically like doing his like boarding school in India, and he was playing piano. Then he had a fucking band at the age of like 12, dude. The hell.
Already a prodigy.
Yeah, already like been playing piano since 7, taking other what? Okay, so yeah, he went to St. Peter's School in Mumbai, what was used to be known as Bombay. But at the age of 12, he has his first rock band, the Hectics. Like, damn, dude, like already he's already doing it. I'm envious.
You said the Hectics?
The Hectics.
And this is at the age of what year?
At the age of 12. And they sound like apparently Cliff Richard and Little Richard, which are some good Richards to be compared to.
Yeah, this dude is talented from the get-go.
Yeah, right off the bat.
But kind of like stumped in his musical, what is it, like wanting to get into music was kind of stumped by his dad, right? He didn't really believe that was somewhere to really go through. Yeah,
that's yeah, that seems to be. I don't know if I brought this up on the other episode, but it was like someone from like U2 said that like you become an amazing rock star because your mom dies or your dad hates you, and for Freddie Mercury it was the dad hate. His dad hated him, and so he became a legend.
I just want to say that his dad died in 2003, making him, I think, 95. He was born in 2008.
Wow.
And then his mom died in 2016, so just pretty recent.
Wow.
You know, so like they got to see they got to see the whole trajectory of his life and the after effects.
That's amazing.
That's pretty badass because one little snippet in the movie where he, you know, they tell him like you're a legend and you're gonna be a legend, and it's the truth, man. It's fucking Freddie Mercury.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. Like, they must have known their impact at that time. Like, there'd be no denying it. And then, could you imagine coming out of that Live Aid performance? Like, how big your ego has to get, dude? Like, man, it's amazing.
That high, bro. That fucking high that you get, you know?
Yeah, dude, like, in front of an audience that big.
Mm-hmm.
And dude, the thing about, man, he can really like just wrap the audience around his finger, dude. Like, everybody says it about him. It's a cliche to say about him, but it's so true. Like, he uses the audience like an instrument, dude. It's crazy.
And in the most perfect way, right?
Yeah, dude. Yeah, like not in like a manipulative way, but like in like he has them into it, dude.
Yeah, he knew how to like keep you in there and fucking just take a hold of you for however long they were playing.
Yeah, dude. Well, like, when you think about, like, We Will Rock You, that stomp, stomp, clap shit, dude, iconic, dude, genius. Wherever that came from, you know, in the movie, they have one telling of it that I hear is, like, shaky, but at the same time, that stomp, stomp, clap shit is, like, dude, amazing. That, like, resonates through all of rock history.
Right, supposedly he makes that with Brian, right? Brian makes that to kind of to get the whole crowd in with who they are, with the band.
Yeah. With that in mind, knowing that like there's a big element of audience participation with their band, which is like that's a cool concept too.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Being able to fucking orchestrate your crowd to be like a musical component of your band.
Yeah.
That's pretty fucking badass.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the audience
that
eats it
song
up.
is legendary, bro.
For sure.
It's got one guitar solo and and then it ends.
Yeah, it's pretty good. It's pretty
It's the
different.
audience playing the beat, and it's his fucking vocals just kind of ad-libbing the same shit, and just it's just got like a hook,
Yeah.
guitar solo with some drums in it, and then that's it.
It's actually pretty minimalistic, dude. Especially for Queen, too, because, like, Brian May, is that his name? The guitarist?
Brian May, the guitarist, correct.
Yeah. Like, dude, like, he's almost the guitar equivalent of Freddie Mercury's voice, dude. Like, he has a really, like, sick fucking, like, technical talent about his guitar playing. And, so, like, you get these, like, really big, like, coordinated, like, composed pieces of music with Queen. So then, like, it's almost rare that you get, like, these little, like minimalistic songs like that. And then, but I don't know, you can't lock them down. I'm saying all this, but you can't lock them down. Like, they did a song that sounds like an opera work, right? Bohemian Rhapsody. And then at the same time, they do disco songs later on that sound like they're fucking like George Michael songs. And yet somehow it's all the same band, and it doesn't surprise you. And it's all good too, dude. They're like consistently good.
Yeah, and then the one of the like the coolest components of them was always harmonizing,
Yeah, for sure.
because everybody pretty much could sing in that band.
Yeah.
Everybody had their own certain range they could hit,
Yeah, their fucking
And-
drummer could hit falsettos, dude. Like
straight
Jesus.
up. Yeah,
yeah, everyone was talented, dude.
yeah.
It was like a whirlwind of talent, dude. It's one of those bands.
I mean, fuck, dude. You could people if they don't know the Queen name, which is kind of hard to believe.
Right.
There's just fucking a basket full of songs that they've at least heard once.
Oh
You know?
yeah, for sure.
You go to a hockey game, you'll hear "We Will Rock You."
Yeah.
You know, you
Or We Are the Champions, dude. They have two sports ballads that were back to back on the same album. Like that's crazy. Like that's a pretty good success rate.
you get Bohemian Rhapsody, bro. Like Chicken, Aaron Blunt, and I would get in the fucking van back in the day when Chicken had a van, and just blast Bohemian Rhapsody, just fucking going out to get drinks and shit.
Shit, dude. And then that song, man, to think that like only Queen could make a 6-minute song. Oh yeah, have you watched the Mighty Ducks movie? Yeah, that was one of my first exposures to Queen. Well, actually, it kind of isn't because the
Wayne's
radio.
World, baby.
Yeah,
Oh.
that's what me and Liz were talking about. We're talking about Mighty Ducks and Wayne's World being some of your first exposure to Queen because of Bohemian Rhapsody from Wayne's World, and We Are the Champions from Mighty Ducks.
Yeah. Or We Will Rock You if you ever watched any fucking sports game.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, definitely. It's a sports ballad, dude. Like it's in every fucking. For some reason, you know, like it's one of those. Both of
And
them.
if you
dude.
listen to like K-Earth and stuff, you'll hear a crazy little thing called Love,
Definitely.
which was like a little rockabilly kind of song. You'll hear fucking another one, Bites the Dust. If you ever hear like some like disco type of music, that one always comes up, which is pretty cool because it's not like an electronic fucking like sound to it. It's all like live music
Yeah.
on that track. And just the list goes on, man. Don't Stop Me Now, fucking Killer Queen,
It's just
My Best Friend.
yeah, dude. They only have hits, dude. Really. Crazy Little Thing Called Love. That one's funny to me because I didn't know that was Queen for a long time. I thought it was like Elvis or something, dude. And like so when I found out it was Queen, I was like, holy shit! Fucking Freddie Mercury has range. I was like in my like early teen years, like probably on Napster or something. I was like, what the fuck? Shit blew me away.
I played it for my mom in the car on our way back home. And I'm like, I was disappointed they didn't play my favorite song. And I played it. She's like, wait. She said, that's not Elvis? I'm like, no, that's Freddie Mercury. She's like, this whole time. She's like, I always thought it was Elvis who played that song.
Dude.
I'm like, nah, it's like a straight up rock and roll kind of little rockabilly song.
It's a testament, dude. It's a testament to Freddie Mercury's range and ability, dude. Because he basically emulates, he channels Elvis there. He pulls it off.
Exactly. So I was wrong. At the age of 17 is when they flee Zanzibar, for whatever safety reasons during the Zanzibar Revolution, and that's when they
Yeah, you were right. They do flee Zanzibar. You were right.
And it's like thousands of Arabs and Indians were killed in that revolution.
Yeah, that's pretty bad, dude. So it's a
One of
good
those
thing
things
they
really
got
don't
lost.
care. He enrolls into Isleworth Polytech, which is now the West Thames College in West London.
Right.
And I think that's when he starts following Smile, right?
Yeah, he basically at some point becomes friends with a couple of the members from Smile. In the movie, they show it like he just he shows up and he's like, "Hey, I can sing. Let me in your band. Your lead singer just quit." But it was more organic than that. Like he was already friends with he was like following Smile touring and shit. Like he was friends with them.
Yeah. It was like a groupie, like a hang around at their shows.
Exactly. Yeah.
And there was something about these guys that like really like attracted him to like really want to be a part of it.
Yeah, something about them resonated with him. It's so weird, dude. Everyone says it. It's another cliche thing to say, but the whole band doesn't seem like they should fit together. Like they all have like different personalities and styles, and yet somehow it all clicks.
It all clicks, right?
Yeah.
So so before, like a little bit after moving over there, in '69, he joins the Liverpool-based band Ibex, which was later renamed Wreckage. I don't know if you have that in your notes as one of his first bands as well.
I do.
Where did that go? Like it just went nowhere?
I guess it doesn't go anywhere. Yeah, I guess it's one of his short-lived bands. But at that time he lived apparently above a Liverpool pub, the Dovetail Towers. At the movie, correct me if I'm wrong, but it showed him living at home, right, during this time?
Yeah, during his time of joining Smile.
Joining Smile, yeah.
And they don't tap into his other band also, which is Sour Milk Sea.
Oh yeah, that's right.
It just shows that he went straight from living at home and working at the airport to joining Smile. And Sour Milk Sea was a little like it had a little more of a run than his other projects beforehand.
Yeah, that was something that actually got like some lift. I didn't know that. I didn't know that had any like levels. Oh no, that's true. I did know that because I was watching some documentary and it was talking about how he toured with bands before he actually ended up touring with what would become Queen.
Oh yeah, well Boris Williams from The Cure, he was the drummer for The Cure. Was part of Sour Milk Sea.
Oh wow, so that's not that band. What didn't just fizzle out? There was some names in it. Wow.
Yeah, somebody came out of it. I mean, he was in the 80s. He was part of The Cure.
Right.
So this is after Freddie, but he was in. I mean, this is after Queen, but he was with Freddie, I guess, in this band, if I'm not mistaken.
Wow, that's interesting. That's really cool. I just want to address some things from the chat really quick. That Liz thought it was Elvis, but Mazzy said he didn't think it was Elvis because of the production style and thought it was like some like 80s rock and roll revivalist. That makes me think about something like Sha Na Na. I don't know. That's for some reason.
No, man. You're going with like Stray Cats. Or
the Stray Cats. There you go. That's more like that. Yeah, there you go. Stray Cats.
It was a little more rockabilly from the 80s.
I don't know. Mike Myers was in that fucking movie till like 10 minutes ago, or like till 10 minutes before the show started.
He was the record executive that lets him go.
He was the producer. I had no fucking clue that was him, dude.
Yeah, the whole time I was watching the movie, I was like, why do I recognize this guy so fucking much?
Yeah, he did look familiar.
Like Tom Cruise in Tropic Thunder.
Dude, I was about to say that exact same thing. Right? When I watched Tropic Thunder, I didn't know till I saw the credits that was Tom Cruise.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm like, Mike Myers. I'm like, holy shit, makes fucking sense.
Yeah, it's one of those roles, dude, where they're hiding it.
It would have been a sin if he wouldn't have been part of this movie, because he's the reason why we used to drive around listening to fucking him and Gar listening to fucking Bohemian Rhapsody.
That's a good point. That's a good point. He deserved that role for just spreading it.
Yeah, dude, it's like that is literally why we used to do that.
Yeah,
you know, that opening scene. You get in the car, we're gonna go fucking party, we're gonna go to a show, and it's just you and the boys. What are we gonna listen to fucking sing out and rock out into the car?
Yeah,
a little Bohemian Rhapsody, man.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, but you know what? It's almost like, does that cliche come from Wayne's World, or is it just something people would have done anyway? You know what I mean? Like, It's just
Well,
that song has that energy.
do you think that's why his character in the movie like plays into the whole where he goes like, it's not a song that kids are gonna run or like drive around to and listen to in the car.
You know? Yeah, exactly. Because if I had noticed that, I would have caught that's what he was getting at. Like that, it was like a wink to Wayne's World.
Well,
But I
just
didn't
makes
get
sense
it.
to me right now.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, that's funny. You're right. You're absolutely right.
Because that's like his main reason for not wanting to put it as a single, right? He's like, it's not one of those songs the kids are gonna want to bump in their car pretty much and drive around and listen to.
Yeah,
it's a 6-minute song, and that's the whole fucking intro for Wayne's World.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's funny. Yeah, that's totally a nod to Wayne's World. That's great.
What are we gonna listen to? How about a little Bohemian Rhapsody? You know, pull out the fucking tape. Yeah, and I like how they have him listening to Live Aid and just
yeah, yeah. They do give him that cut when it's like there's no time for losers. And he's just looking at it like totally disappointed. Man, that Live Aid performance is something else, man.
Yeah, one of the greatest fucking performances ever.
Yeah, for sure. Let's get through his early life really quick so we can get into like career stuff.
We get into what did I get into?
We talked about we got right past that. So he's basically in Smile at this point touring, right? In like 71 or wait.
This is he leaves I think in 69. Oh no, in 70. That's when the band breaks up. And that's when he joins Brian May and Roger Taylor in what is known at this moment as Smile, 1970.
Yeah.
So in 71, John Deacon joins the band as the bassist.
That's the good bassist, right? Or is that the weak bassist? Because
no, John Deacon stayed until the end.
Okay, yeah. So that's because they had like a weak bassist for a minute. But yeah, man. So another thing.
Yeah, and just to put out there, like Freddie never had a problem with tempo. Like his fucking voice was on rhythm. Yeah,
I've read that. I've read that a couple times. That he had a really good rhythm in his voice.
I mean, the voice is an instrument, but it's not just about singing and having range. It's like, can you actually stay on tempo?
Something I'm gonna bring up really quick about Freddie Mercury is that he had a fucking trademark of playing with a broken mic stand. Mazzy's on his research game tonight.
Oh man, always, never a problem with that guy.
But he didn't know about Queen's Crest, so Mazzy, you lost some points tonight. And I do keep tabs.
Mazzy's got more important things to worry about than
that's true.
A logo. He's all about the music, man. Hey, this song wasn't in the movie, was it?
Which one is this? Oh, Bicycle?
Bicycle?
No, yeah. Dude, I don't think it was. I don't believe it was.
I fucking love this song too. It's one of my it was on my first Queen album.
Yeah, dude. I don't know. I saw a video of a whole bunch of like chicks half naked riding bicycles to this song. Was that like official? Was that like official Queen?
No, I gotta look.
It was in one of their documentaries, dude. I was watching it and I was like, this video's all right. But there seemed like to be a nod to it too in one of the scenes when he was throwing that party in his house. I don't know. I just want to mention really quick also too about the movie that we'll get to it later. Actually, there's a whole slide for the movie, but I want to mention it at some point, and I'm itching to mention it because Mazzy is in the chat.
Okay. Well, I guess we're gonna get there.
That's true. Eventually.
Where we leave off? Okay, so we were talking about his vocal range and his fucking sheer talent to sing like a fucking trained anything. I mean, from opera to rock and roll to just anything, man. This guy's vocals were. Can you just imagine he would have been alive right now, man?
I know, dude. It's sad. It's another one of those sad circumstances that we didn't get to hear whatever else Queen could have done. Because I think Queen is one of those bands who would have revolutionized and re-revolutionized and kept making music. And Freddie Mercury said Queen was going to be together until they died. And he really actually fulfilled that, dude. It's crazy.
Yeah, right. It's to his fucking dying days, he performed. He he did what he always said he was going to do. You know, just give the people what they wanted. You know, Robert Daltrey from fucking The Who. You know, their main singer. Like, he calls Mercury the best virtuoso like rock and roll singer of all time.
Right.
You know, pointing out that he can sing any style. You know.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's credit too. That's credit because Roger Daltrey also has a range. So, and then David Bowie also has complimented his style, and it's like, if you're getting compliments from David Bowie and Roger Daltrey, you're the shit, basically.
You've done something.
You've accomplished something.
Yeah.
And then it's also crazy that they played with David Bowie in studio. I didn't know that the song is called Under Pressure because well, I mean, I know it's called Under Pressure, but I didn't know it's called Under Pressure because, okay, look, they did that song basically in like a couple of takes. Like, they just busted it out of nowhere mostly. But it was called Under Pressure because they were playing with David Bowie and everyone was nervous and everyone was trying to do their best to impress Bowie.
No shit.
Yeah. So the song's name became Under Pressure and they ran with it.
Mercury's vocals in anything singled out, they stand alone themselves. It's like hearing an opera singer.
Yeah, definitely, dude. He always hits the note, dude. He always hits the mark. I don't think he's capable of making a sour note.
And you can't shit on the rest of the band because fucking everybody from Brian and his fucking sick ass solos, you know, like just being able to compliment with the piano, to Roger and his like nice ass ad libs on the drums, and John on the bass, just fucking keeping it all together, never missing a fucking beat. For sure, you even got to give credit because like their guitarist is super technical, their drummer's super good, and then even their bassist, because some of the best songs from Queen are memorable because of their bass lines. Like Another One Bites the Dust, like, and it's a simple bass line. Written by him. And then the same thing with Under Pressure. Dun 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 dun. And it's even like monotonic, dude, but like stuck in your head, you know what I mean? So like their bassist deserves just as much credit. It's one of those things where it's like it's all the right people on the bus, like you can't fail. It's pretty much Brian was pretty much like he's a lead guitarist soloist. Yeah, for sure. And it's like John comes in with like, pretty much how we used to do. Somebody presents, I want to work on this, and everybody just jumps in on their own. Nobody's directing anybody what to do. It's like, how does this sound? Right. Try it like a little bit higher. All right, cool. It's like little tweak it this way. Push it. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So that's where fucking like real bands. That's how real bands breathe and exist. For sure. Not it's just helpful hints, not a complete control from somebody else. And it's crazy, dude, because like their songs sound like they're super composed, like, but really it's all of them just doing their little piece, Exactly. Like there's some craziness in Bohemian Rhapsody, how like it basically like there's a call response with like Freddie's voice and then Brian's guitar. And like that makes the whole song. That becomes the whole song, and it's really good. The whole song is structured on that. Well, that and the fact that it's operatic, but like the guitar voice like combo steals the show. It's great. Saying about the No Heard Around the World thing, dude, that he did at Live Aid, where like he's got like he sings the note at people. Hey yo, yeah. Oh, that's the best. Yeah, that's fucking beautiful, man. Dude, he that's played, beautiful because it's real. Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, and then he actually did that shit. And then the other thing is that he started playing rhythm guitar at some point with the band, so he could kind of get away from the piano. I'm bringing that up because of Live Aid, because you see that picture of him right there playing at Live Aid with the actual guitar. And, correct. Dude, he also did a concert in Brazil, or Queen. I don't mean to conflate the whole band with him, but They played a concert in fucking Brazil. Brazil was dying to have them, dude. And it was during a time where Brazil was going through like political upheaval. So, holy shit, Freddie Mercury performed 700 concerts in countries around the world. I had no idea he performed that many concerts. Now, did he perform as a soloist as well, or this is all with Queen?
I don't know. It doesn't specify here, but yeah. Well, this is during the Queen era. I made sure I divided all the notes. So this is probably with Queen alone.
And 10 out of the 17 songs on their greatest hits album are all written by Freddie Mercury himself.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, dude, he's the man, dude. Like he has a good success rate. But then again, he was pretty possessive about music rights, even from the beginning. I think the ones who know they're going to be greats are like that, dude. They're like, mine. Like, I don't know.
That whole like possessive, creative possessiveness to their art.
Yeah.
I mean, but if you don't do that, I guess with a band, it's not acceptable. Being conscious musicians, because it's like if you're in a band, it's a collective, like it's a family.
Yeah.
So that whole possessiveness, it really shouldn't exist.
It shouldn't.
But when it comes to outside forces, like record execs and people, you know, the snakes, when the wolves come out, you know, like the fucking Rancid album, the wolves come out type shit.
Right.
That's when you have to be possessive about your shit.
Yeah, I guess it'll turn you into that because they went through the same phase. They went through the same phase that apparently every band goes through. By what is their second album or third album? Sheer Heart Attack. Around that time, they're touring. They're when they start touring America and they're really seeing success. They're going from the UK to America. They still aren't making like any money, dude. They still are living basically like hand to mouth and like paycheck to paycheck. Like
right.
They're in debt to light and studio people and like effects people for their shows. Basically, up until like Bohemian Rhapsody, and I think even a little past
a little
that.
Bit after, a little bit after Bohemian Rhapsody, it's when he was able to do his whole run around as royalty type shit.
Yeah.
Before that, they're selling out Rio de Janeiro and type shit like that, but they're still going back to London, living pretty much where they were when they left.
Yeah, they're living in apartment buildings, and yet they're major rock stars. They're like they're charting in the U.S., they're charting in the U.K., and they're penniless, dude. They pulled a maneuver at some point, thinking they were clever to make an album for a production company instead of making the album for a label, thinking that the production company would go to bat for them. But all they did was introduce another middleman, and they made almost no money off of that album. That was one of their first few. So they just had bad luck, dude. It's not even bad luck. It's just that artists don't have business sense because it's two diametrically opposed talents. You're either a math guy or you're an art guy, right? And all the math guys take advantage of all the art guys. It's just fucked up, dude. It's the fucked up nature of the way that works.
I wanna throw this snippet. Maybe I'm jumping the gun again, but when I was talking about the whole the Live Aid concert, it's been voted by music executives as the greatest live performance in the history of rock.
Yeah, I could see that, man. I could see that. But then we also know about the Jimi Hendrix thing. So it's
But that Woodstock, right?
Yeah, Woodstock. Yeah, so so I don't remember the name of this band, but they toured with a band. They ended up doing the US tours. They ended up touring everywhere. They toured Japan, they toured South America. Then Live Aid, right? We just talked about Live Aid. So pretty much, and that's where the movie ends, by the way. Again, spoiler alert. That's the post-emptive spoiler alert. So what happens after Live Aid? They end the movie at Live Aid, and they're just okay, and then also Freddie Mercury dies. That's Freddie Mercury went on to die 6 years later. Yeah. But there was nothing between Live Aid and then what comes out after Live Aid? There's a ton of shit. I don't know. Isn't his solo work after Live Aid technically? He does 2 solo albums. Maybe we should talk about that. Actually, I have a slide for that.
He did his solo. He did his solo album before Live Aid.
You're right. It's 81 to 83. I see that is some of it. No, wait. Mr. Bad Guy's 85 and Barcelona's 88, and Live Aid's 85. So actually, one of them's maybe coincides, and one of them's after.
Yeah, it was a 2 album contract, I believe.
Yeah. And there's good stuff in there, but dude, like, it's not Queen. And when the movie went to great efforts to show that Queen and Freddie Mercury needed each other, and they actually do. They actually do. Like, Freddie Mercury is not as good without Queen. That band is bigger than the sum of their parts.
Yeah, Freddie Mercury by himself is Farrokh.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah, you get it.
In order for Freddie Mercury to exist, it's with Queen. And like you said, yeah, that's why people like, oh, it's the movie about Freddie Mercury. It is only because he's the most tragic member of the band. Yeah, but it really is a Queen movie.
It really is. Yeah, me and Liz kept talking about that because we kept saying, "Oh, they didn't go into this, they didn't go into that," and it's like, well, it's really about Queen. It's called Bohemian Rhapsody. It's not called, Mercury Rising or something. It's not about Freddie. It's about Queen, the whole phenomenon of Queen. So
right. And we get into the aspects of his personal life only because it was put out there, like from that guy coming out and just pretty much putting his business out there, to like shit that the tabloids caught on to, his death, AIDS, everything. Yeah, that's all. It has to be on there because he was the one that was mostly public viewed.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, he was in the limelight. I mean, he was the front man. There's no getting around it. He has said there's multiple times, and this happened in the movie. There's multiple times he's gone on record saying, "I'm not the leader of Queen. I'm the lead singer of Queen." And he had to tell the press that, like,
that's admirable as fuck.
Yeah, it's great that he did that at least, dude. Like, he didn't have to do that. He could have been one of these bastards who's like, "I am Queen," but really, I mean, maybe he was just self-aware enough to know that he's not. He really isn't. But he's just the most like prominent member of Queen. He's the most like obvious member of Queen.
Everybody else is pretty much private though.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Everyone had their own kind of like life.
They had their own families and everything. He was pretty much the only lonely soul, and that's why they portray that guy Paul, that cocksucker, just like the Amy Winehouse guy. it's one cocksucker that come and leeches off.
What's his name? Paul Presley or something? What's his name? Paul Prentley?
But that was the leech, right? That was the one that
probably the one who gave him AIDS too, because he died in 1991, the exact same year that Freddie Mercury died of AIDS. So
he died too.
Yeah. So to me, that implies that. I mean, maybe that's. I mean, I'm not a doctor, so what the fuck am I talking about?
I'm no doctor, but if I had to speculate,
wildly, this guy gave him AIDS. I'm like 99% sure. But but they died at the same time of AIDS, so it's like that's just kind of suspicious. That seems to it paints a picture.
He was pretty much like he was disliked by the LGBTQ community at that time.
Yeah. Right.
There was no T back then. It was just LGBT.
Just LGBT. Yeah, you're right.
I think it was just LGBT. Yeah. At that time, because he didn't come forward with it. Now, he had his own personal reason of not wanting to come forward with it. He talked about how, like, they even showed it in the movie, but I remember, like, it was something about he didn't want to be, like, pitied on. Mm. You know, more than anything. Like, he wanted to just keep being the showman. But it affected the community, because if he would have came out with it, it would have raised awareness to the whole thing that was going on. And you remember there was like so many things where it was like people were even scared to fucking have handshakes with people, because it was just so much like the ignorance and also like the scarcity of information on it.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, I remember because I lived like right after those times, like early 90s. And there were PSAs in the early 90s about that you cannot get AIDS from a toilet seat. So when you say ignorance, you nail it, dude. Like, and that's after Freddie's time. That's like basically after his death, people are still ignorant about that shit. There's a picture at Live Aid where you can see a lesion on Freddie Mercury. That's interesting, Liz. So that's to say he probably did have it at the time, even though not officially.
Montserrat
Caballé, yeah. So apparently he basically sings with his opera singer. That's some crazy shit to me, dude. That's pretty neat.
Couple gals just a couple guests.
A couple queens singing, couple divas, you know.
What's like his solo albums just show what we already know: his vocal range, his vocal talent. But it's not. It's like you said. It's not Queen. It's not. It's not that force of nature that just makes you wanna just move. Belong at that moment.
Yeah, I listened to some stuff off of Mr. Bad Guy. I listened to a handful of it, and dude, it sounds like a George Michael album, dude. Like it sounds like some Wham shit. Like it's very of the times. And you know, there's nothing wrong with that stuff. He does I think he does even that style justice, but like, I don't think that's what you signed up for when you're a fan of Freddie Mercury, right? You didn't.
Where we at? Because
well, I would say solo career. Let's move on from there because no one really cares. We'll talk about, I guess, his personal life really quick.
I wanted to get into the fact that he was a pretty, you know, we got into he was a formal piano player.
Oh yeah,
and you know, like you said, from the age of 9. But he also learned guitar, I think, on his own.
Most likely, knowing him.
And like his favorite artists were the Who, the Beatles, Hendrix, Bowie, and Zeppelin.
Good taste. And it's funny because they were just right before his generation. Like those were like his contemporaries, basically, like just ever so slightly. You know what I mean? Like that's crazy to me that he basically lived right in lockstep with those eras and got big right after.
Yeah, and for his solo projects, he enlisted Fred Mandel, who's worked with Pink Floyd and Elton John.
Oh wow, nice.
And Supertramp, you know, like, so he knew good music too. He was a good fucking. I think that's what it was, you know, like he went solo. So he tried to get the best, but it was just never the same. You know, it wasn't. It's not that joke. So yeah, and I just wanted to note that like he played with a lot of greats, like he jammed with a lot of greats on his own type of stuff. You know, but it's not Queen. So
Zeppelin's
it kind of trumps his solo career. You know?
Yeah, dude. I'll say this: before I saw the movie, I didn't know Freddie Mercury had a solo career, which is like,
yeah, low-key, I didn't either.
Yeah, so when it's stuff like that, if he had really made an impression, you would have known. No one knows Mr. Bad Guy. No one knows that.
Nah.
Yeah. And he knows it. He knows it. He knows it because he never left Queen. Queen was his shit, dude. So Zeppelin's first album was in '69 and Queen's first album was in '73. So yeah, so that lends to kind of what I'm saying. They're like right next to each other. Zeppelin's last album was in '79. That's interesting.
Yeah, Zeppelin didn't last too long.
And don't worry, Mazzy. No one knew about a solo career.
Yeah. Nobody cared for that fucking solo career.
Yeah, dude. We just like glossed right over it, dude. But Mary Austin. Yeah. So I wanted to talk about Mary Austin because Mary Austin is like his like longtime love is basically the woman he loved,
the love of his life.
The love of his life. He married her, and the only reason they have irreconcilable differences is because he cheated on her with a bunch of fucking guys, basically, and she was none too happy about it, apparently.
Yeah, she couldn't get with the fact that he was, and it's pretty much out there. He wasn't gay, like fully gay, in his own words, right? In my own words, if you take a dick up the mouth or the ass, you're pretty much gay. But for him, he was bi.
He said he was bisexual. Officially, he was bisexual.
Yeah, he said he was bi.
Yeah, because there's even there was an interview where someone asked him if he wanted kids, and he said, "Oh, if I found the right woman, yeah, definitely." And the right woman was actually probably Mary Austin. I mean, he left her his estate. He said they should have been married forever. Community. But
yeah, because he comes out to her in the movie as being bi, like he doesn't even go through like I'm gay, because I strongly believe he loved this woman.
Yeah, well, that song "Love of My Life" that's dedicated to her.
Yeah, I like how when he's writing that song for her, he's just like crying.
Yeah,
I was like, that's a real musician right there. You know, like he's writing this like straight to the heart. Yeah.
I like when he's showing her that everyone's singing along to that song, and he's like, look, they're all singing along the thing I wrote for you. They're singing my love back at you. It's like, that shit's really, really touching.
Bro, like that I'm telling you, that movie, it's a great movie. Not so much because of the accuracies, the historical accuracies, like which fucking World War II movie is,
Yeah, exactly right. They're all dramatized.
Right, it's a great movie because it makes you feel the music. You if you've been a fan of Queen, you kind of appreciate it in a different light a little bit more.
True, very true.
Because now it's got like some real. It might not be the real cinematic value to it, but it's got something there. Like I said, Queen and Mary were part of this.
For sure, yeah, for sure. You can feel their influence is probably there. And then like the other thing is like, even as just a tribute, it's good. You know what I mean? Like, even if it's not the exact thing that happened beat for beat, it's a tribute to someone who is legendary, and like operating as that, it does its job for sure.
Right.
From the chat, Liz said that they didn't show much of his relationship with Jim. That's right. Like he did really ultimately find love with Jim Hutton. It seems like that's the guy who. Yeah. The movie gets the story's feeling right. That sounds accurate. Actually, that's a good way to put it. It's a really good way to put it.
Yeah. Because you see the tragedy, and you see some of the darkness, but you even if it's a tragic end, you get a lot of the beauty out of it.
Yeah, it all comes through. It shines through.
Yeah, which was the main drive to it. It wasn't like, let's just like end it on a fucked up note where it's like, oh wow, that's it. It's like, we'll show you the beautiful part of what it was to be in Queen type stuff, what it was to be around him. Yeah,
and it's actually kind of nice that they didn't end it that he's dying of AIDS in that last performance where he's basically like draped in a blanket saying goodbye. Or when he's gone and falling apart, looking like a corpse, like they mentioned in the chat earlier. Like it's they ended it on his highest note, or the band's highest note, I should say. Yeah. And so that's a good place to go if you want to make a feel good movie that paints the band in a good light. But I did want something a little realer and grittier, I gotta say. Maybe we should just talk about the biopic. We're already talking about it. I just want to say that. Okay, this is what I wanted to say about this movie. That I don't know. Mazzy will probably disagree with me, but the guy who plays Freddie Mercury, I think his name is Rami Malek. Mm-hmm. He's the guy from Mr. Robot. I think that guy looks like Mazzy. I think Mazzy and the guy from Mr. Robot look like each other, like pretty heavily.
You told me that one time before.
Yeah, like I think if like Mazzy had like a short haircut, like Rami Malek, he would look like his twin. That's what I think. He's probably not going to agree with me though.
Over the course of like 3 months, I've chatted away through here with Mazzy, and I think I remember asking her like, "What does Mazzy look like?" You know him, right? And you go like, "You ever seen Mr. Robot?" I'm like, "Never." And you're like, "He looks like that guy."
Yeah, that's what I see. I see he looks like Mr. Robot, but we'll see. We'll see if he agrees. I want to hear him chime in. But another thing about that is I didn't know that was fucking Mr. Robot while I was watching the movie, dude. It took me a while to see it. Like, I didn't realize till I got home. I'm like, was that Mr. Robot? I'm like, nah, it couldn't be. And then I looked it up. I'm like, oh, holy shit, it was Mr. Robot, which is a testament to his acting ability because playing on one hand Mr. Robot and on the other hand Freddie Mercury is a range. Like, Freddie Mercury is like a hard guy to nail down.
And you believe he's Freddie Mercury throughout the whole movie.
He nails it, dude. He does a really good job. He sells it. He really sells it.
Everybody in the movie kind of really looks like how like they're really close to looking like they're
dude,
like
Brian,
the guys that they're playing.
Brian May is like dead on, dude. And then their drummer's pretty close too. And so is their bassist. Liz said the drummer looked nothing like him, but I think it was close.
Yeah, I think he was pretty spot on, like in the sense of like we know they're actors, but pretty spot on. I think the only guy I've seen from anything else was the bassist.
Yeah, I've seen him in other movies, and it's funny because he just naturally looks like that guy.
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly. When I look at pictures from the real John Deacon, and you look at him, you're like, oh, they're
pretty close.
Yeah, pretty close. It's not like an uncanny look, but pretty close.
Close enough, yeah. Like you wouldn't, you probably could tell the difference at points. You know, he didn't look that much like Freddie Mercury. I kept saying I didn't see it. Like he looked a lot more ethnic than Freddie Mercury does. This picture doesn't show my point. Actually, they look pretty similar here, but like they really play up his ethnicity in a lot of it. Like whereas like Freddie Mercury, I mean, I know he's not, but he looks pretty Caucasian for an Indian dude. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like a
yeah.
Middle
I
Eastern
that
dude.
too.
Yeah,
when the first time I ever found out that he wasn't just a Brit, you know, I felt like there was maybe like a little mix in there of like something a little bit darker because he had like the different hue. But
yeah, like Greek or something, right? Like something like, you know, something something Mediterranean.
Bangladeshi, like Indian, and I was like, what?
Yeah,
he's a Paki, but you know, Indian. Like
the movie got on Metacritic an average of 49 out of 100, which is not a great rating.
I was going to get into that earlier. What did you say it was?
On Metacritic, it got a 49 out of 100, which aggregates all the scores from everywhere. It got a 60% on Rotten Tomatoes, which is not great. 6.1 out of 10. I don't know. We might be biased because of how close we are to this like fanaticism with music. But I really like the movie. I mean, I would give it like more of like a 70 to 80%. It's up there.
I give it a strong. I give it a strong 80.
Yeah, right.
I really enjoyed this movie. That's about all the like people's fucking annoyances with it. I said it made a pretty penny with
in the box office.
Yeah, it was a $52 million cost. It made 141.
Oh wow. Oh, that's pretty good. That's pretty good for just a few days, right? Because opening night, I think it made 50 mil,
which was already almost pretty much what it cost to make it.
Yeah,
I have 2 mil.
That's pretty good. That's pretty decent, dude. I mean, hey, it did what it set out to do, and inform people about Freddie Mercury, and then made all the money back. So you can't complain. Yeah, dude. And then and I enjoyed it. I thoroughly enjoyed it.
It's good for the younger. It's good for this new generation to know what real fucking rock and roll was. That it didn't have to be like heavy ass fucking shit. It could also have been opera, you know.
Yeah,
this had a good fucking sound.
This is also probably my favorite band from the era of the 70s to the 80s. Like, you know, but John brought up another good one, Zeppelin. Zeppelin's another pretty good one. Oh, and Pink Floyd. Shit.
Yeah.
You know what? There's some good shit from the 70s. The 70s still had a lot of good acts, dude.
70s?
Yeah, 70s did it right, dude. So what else about the biopic? Okay, we talked about the ratings, how much money it made, the portrayals, how everyone looked dead on. They kept the consistency pretty good, relatively good. Oh yeah, something I was saying earlier, but then you cut out was that movie has the same problem this show has, which is how do you fit a whole lifetime? How do you fit a whole lifetime into 2 hours?
Yeah.
So like I get it.
You gotta get everything.
Yeah. So
you're not gonna make a sequel to this. It's just like it's a one and done like hit. You know?
Yeah. So you gotta fit as much as you can in. You gotta cram it all in.
And make it good.
Yeah. Yeah, to fit a whole lifetime, you got to do a lot of montages. Mazzy, there are montages. I don't want to surprise you. There's some fucking montages in Bohemian Rhapsody. Have we covered the biopic? Have we hit the whole biopic?
I think we have, with not killing it too bad for people. Because I mean, I don't shit on it.
Me neither. I wouldn't.
Like, if you just opened up Wikipedia and never knew anything about fucking Queen, we didn't kill anything for you. It's what it is, but it's a good fucking movie to watch, man.
It's worth it. It was worth the money. I don't regret it. Any gripes I have about it are kind of like silly almost. It was good. Yeah, it was worth it.
And it's PG-13, so if you're scared about seeing Freddie get double teamed or something by a two dudes, it's not happening.
There is a gay kiss in it. You know what I mean? They probably had a fight for that one with the PG-13 rating.
No, it's like you can't really bitch about that.
Yeah, there's 2 gay kisses in it. I didn't count them. I turned my head away at the time.
I think he kisses Jim.
He kisses Jim and he kisses and he kisses the other dude, the producer dude. What's his name? Peter?
Snake.
Yeah.
Paul. That was his handler.
Paul.
It wasn't even his producer, nothing. He was just his handler.
Ah, I see. Yeah, he was like a manager or something, right? He was some kind of hangers on.
A handler is pretty much the dude that has to get you ready for everything.
Then I hate to go here, but this card gets played every week. This is the death of Farrokh Bulsara, 91, which you can probably have guessed if we haven't already dropped some pretty big hints that he got the bug. He died of AIDS in 91, which is a huge bummer. Pretty sad.
Yeah, man. The loss of a fucking legend.
Yeah,
a living legend at that time. You know, he was already a living legend.
Yeah, man, and he performed into the grave. You know, he had that performance right after Live Aid, right, where he was like draped in the sheet, like, and then he was still like recording like music videos. There's a music video. There's that one music video, right, where he looks like he's a skeleton, and he's got a whole bunch of makeup on and got cat shirts on. Do you know what I'm talking about? It's like his last like.
Yeah.
Yeah, he looks like he's about to fall apart. And
the shape of his face so like out there. He had a huge jaw, man.
I know, dude. Yeah, you could tell he's got a big skull. That guy. Yeah, this month is his 27-year anniversary. Thus, the timing of this episode and the timing of the biopic. Thanks for that, Liz.
Yeah, it's funny because a couple years ago when we threw in the concept of making this show, this is one of the first names we threw out there.
That's true.
Yeah, like before the biopic and everything, and it was just it was really like it's like that bittersweet feeling, you know.
These Are the Days of Our Lives is the name of that last thing he recorded. That's the last music video, right?
Oh, I gotta watch that. And I know which one it is because I've seen snips of it, but I didn't know that he was dying at that time.
Yeah, dude, he's falling apart. It's pretty sad.
So this is he gets a diagnosis in 87, 2 years after Live Aid.
Right.
But around that time, he had claimed in an interview that he had tested negative.
Yeah, he'd been saying that. He'd been denying it pretty much. Dude, like, the minute he admitted it, he was basically on the precipice of death. Yeah, he was like a few days away from dying when he finally admitted it.
Yeah.
Even though everyone knew something was up. Everyone suspected because you could tell just by looking at him, like, he was like rotting.
And at that time, yeah, everybody that was dying of AIDS, it was pretty much like out there. It was coming out in magazines of how people were looking. So seeing him, he kind of, and then being like pretty much out there with being gay, and it was a disease that was targeting two minority groups at the time, you know, gay and the black community. So it was like, it was straight up like, let's get this out there. Which goes back to me saying that the LGBT community was pretty ashamed of him in that sense that like he could have done a lot more to help the awareness of it.
Yeah, I was like seeing something where they were like, "Oh, it's so good that he ultimately admitted it." Though it's like, yeah, but he would have done more in life by admitting it earlier. But it's like you had said though too that he didn't want that to dominate his life. Like, you know,
right. That was one thing. And if it's in the movie, I believe that's one of those things that's real too. You know, it's like I know it's in the movie and everything, but I feel like it holds a lot of water. He was a showman that really loved his fans.
Yeah. Plus, not to mention the fact that the press, like, he was like Michael Jackson. He was one of those type of characters with the press. The press just loved to just like stalk him. Basically, they were obsessed with him, and they would have had a field day with an AIDS diagnosis.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. So this is 1991, right?
Yeah.
When did we say it was?
But let's see. Yeah. So Mercury kept his condition private to those closest to him.
And you know they had a good run though.
You know, it's always interesting when you have a run so long that you see like the landscape of music change. Like you see the landscape change from rock to disco, and Queen follows that trend. Like that means you have staying power, I guess, if you're going from, you know,
you're fluid.
Yeah, if you're going from the early 70s to the late 80s or something like that, and Queen had over 10 albums. I remember hearing the number of 11 earlier at some point today, but don't quote me on that. But yeah, they did their part for sure. And the craziest part is to think that for like 3 or 4 of those albums, they were living out of pocket. Oh, and the Flash Gordon soundtrack, yeah, because they do Flash.
Oh, that's right.
Oh, yeah. Classic.
Savior of the universe.
Yeah.
I kind of also want to point out that Under Pressure was bit by Vanilla Ice, and Vanilla Ice paid a good amount of money to fix that problem.
Yeah, he paid not just in court, but also in the court of public opinion, because no one will ever let him live down the fact that he sampled Under Pressure and thought he could get away with it.
Two of the greatest, most legendary singers of rock and roll history are on this track. And you're going to be like, well, let me just take this real quick and try to get away with it.
Yeah, I'll just steal it a little.
You have one of the most iconic bass lines.
Yeah.
Bum, bum,
Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. Yeah, he added his little cymbal crash, right? Isn't that his thing? Wasn't that his take on it? That's what made it unique? Good times. So, oh yeah, this song that's playing right now, I Want to Break Free. That song was banned in America, in the American MTV would not play I Want to Break Free because of the drag. But come on, okay, I have issue with that, because isn't dressing in drag like a staple of British entertainment? Haven't we all seen the
Monty
Brits
Python.
dress up? Yeah, like exactly, Monty Python. That's a perfect example. Yeah,
But the conservative whites, you know?
yeah,
The ones that
Puritans.
if watching anything like that, you know, you're going to turn gay if you watch it. No, it only happens if you get aroused by that. It only happens.
And you would know
So, I
about
don't
that,
have a
Ellie.
problem with-
You would know.
I mean, I love the video, man.
It is no, but you know what? I really do love that music video. It's fucking
What
awesome.
can I say?
You know what? Freddie
Help
Mercury
me.
is a cute chick, even with a mustache. That's all I'm saying. Because he was Zoroastrian, he had to be cremated. So there's that. So there was a funeral service, which pretty much anyone attended. Also, just another thing, really quick, that the man had goddamn rock in his name. He was meant to do what he did.
Legacy? I mean, we can't say anything more, you know?
I was saying awards and merits. I mean, legacy, we live with this guy's legacy pretty much within music. Let's see. He won a lot of Brit Awards, but did he win Grammys? I imagine he won some. I know he won a Lifetime Achievement Grammy.
They're inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 2001.
Oh yeah, they're in every fucking Hall of Fame. Let's see.
Songwriters Hall of Fame.
They're in the Grammy Hall of Fame in 2008.
Okay.
But let's see. I want to say they got a Grammy Lifetime Achievement in 2018. Liz, you're going too early. He is the Queen of Rock, though. That's pretty much, I assumed, what we were going to dub him before we even started the deal.
And something, Liz. There's a process to this.
But you know what? She's right, because it's so obvious. It's in the goddamn band name.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. And then it's funny, too, because it's like, who else could you say is the Queen of Rock and Roll? Like, Janis Joplin isn't exactly the Queen of Rock and Roll or anything, and that would be the closest one. Yeah, she's bluesy. She's more of a blues artist.
You gotta go back and figure out what we've dubbed everybody, because that's gonna come in.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna make a big list, dude. I'm gonna put a big fucking list together. But he's the queen. He's the goddamn queen. Just by the way, I'd go into the awards and merits, but the list is fucking gigantic. The list just goes on. They've won so many Brit Awards and Ivor Novello Awards for albums and songs. Queen was just... It's funny, too, how much I've switched back and forth between saying they and him. It's like Queen is Freddie Mercury, definitely, on some level. His identity.
Freddie Mercury is Queen and Queen. Yeah.
Their identities are intertwined. Same with everyone else in the band, of course. They're just not as much of household names. But they deserve to be, for sure.
Yeah. They deserve they deserve their own fucking star, you know.
Yeah.
Their own constellation. Yeah. I mean, we wouldn't have all this beautiful music without, because like we said earlier, he didn't write all those songs.
Very true. Yeah.
John did, Brian did, or Roger did.
Yeah. And their influences are key, dude. I think
we've done this man some justice, man.
We have. We're pretty much here. We are. We're at the end, man.
At least he ain't a Tom Petty.
Dude, actually, I feel like I could go on with Freddie Mercury. This was actually one of the easiest episodes to do, and yet I did the most research. It was like the most fun. It didn't feel like work. We didn't even have to do much filler. Like, we didn't have to drag anything out. There's so much to say. Yeah. It was like the easiest episode to do, dude. Like, it was a really refreshing episode.
Yeah, man. You know, like, we've been having fun, you know, like, the Halloween one was just a fun time.
Yeah, that was really cool.
You know, talking about a great artist, another one of those legends. But yeah, this one was a little deeper than that.
Very true.
It's fucking Freddie Mercury, man.
Another legend, man. He's up there in that realm of like Hendrix style musicians, dude. It's like, in fact, I might even say that Hendrix passed the torch on to Mercury. You know, that it's like it's timed right. And so next week we're gonna probably be doing Mr. Mojo Rising himself. I don't know if I'm giving too much away to say that.
Fucking Morrison.
Jim fucking Morrison. Yeah, that's another fucking name, and that's a good one.
Oh, that's another person with a biopic that we could get into too.
Oh, that's true. That's the one with Val Kilmer.
And look at this real quick. Like right next to me.
Nice. Val Kilmer does a pretty good Morrison, dude.
Yeah. But you know who also looked pretty close to Morrison? Marky Mark, man.
I can see that. Yeah. You're right. Like if he grows out his hair.
Size. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, dude. I've never even actually like made the connection before. You're right. He actually would look more like him than Val Kilmer.
Yeah.
They all have similar noses, dude. They got and like similar like blocky heads.
Val Kilmer has a bigger nose than Morrison. Wahlberg's nose is closer.
It's closer, yeah, for sure. That's like the defining like look, I think. So I just gotta mention this really quick, that Queen only had one Grammy nomination. They lost to Chicago's "If You Leave Me Now." That's a terrible note to go out on.
Wait. It's one of those bands that I can't shit on.
Look, hey, I don't hate Chicago, actually. I actually like,
Chicago,
you know what?
Kicks ass.
You know what? Inspiration is like one of my favorite songs, dude. And that song is like gay as hell. I just have to say.
This is another one of my mom's favorite groups. So I grew up listening to all of Chicago's music.
But be that as it may, Chicago is no Queen. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
Nah, Chicago is Chicago and Queen is California, man.
Yeah, I'm with you there, dude. Like Queen's like Los Angeles, right? There you go.
Mm-hmm.
There you go. I feel you. I feel you on that. Well, I think we've hit that time. I think it's time to wrap up. We got all the information out there.
This week's That's the Music, everybody. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for hanging on up until episode 12.
Ah, man, this is a good episode. I really love. I love the music. It's one of those bands that even the most metal motherfuckers can say that Queen fucking rocks, you know?
Yeah, no one can throw shade on Queen, dude. I don't think. And you know what? They have something that appeals to everyone. Like their music is like that, you know. So they were universal, and Freddie Mercury was an integral part of that. And again, another artist I just respect and love, dude.
Yeah, hell yeah, fuck yeah. Just with that being said, thank you for stopping by to another week. And what? God, I still can't figure out how to say that. Thanks for watching Death and Music. Find us at Death and Music on YouTube, Twitch, which we don't have a little Twitch thing right there, bro.
Oh shit, you're right. Next time,
Twitch,
it'll be on the next
Facebook Live. Yeah. So we're live on these three. We're also on Snapchat, ran by the lovely Liz. Our on what is it, like on chat correspondent and fact checker Mazzy. Thank you for that. Thank you, Alexis, for stopping by. Hit us up. Tell us what you want to see next. Next week's already booked though. And thank you guys, man. Yeah. Robbie, it's always a pleasure, brother.
Same here, man. Thanks for making it. Thanks everyone for watching. We will see you next week.